We haven't done this part yet.
Are we live?
We are.
All right, great. All right, Carter, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Today we have Carter Biese, motocross rider. So,
Yep, glad to
Carter,
be here.
every good story has a beginning, middle, and end, and yours is quite the journey. So, if you could start us and the viewers from the beginning, yours spans
Yeah,
back
I, I
two
mean,
decades.
I wish it wasn't so eventful, but it's been one. So, my dad grew up racing and riding, and he's a promoter. So we ended up, Emily and I was basically born into the sport, and didn't really get into it riding wise myself until I was like five or so. And then kind of from there, just kind of started doing the local stuff. And then when I turned seven, I did the Loretta Lynn's national championship type stuff. We had a qualifier at our track, and I made it in, and it was like, what the heck? And then once you get bit by that national bug, like you don't, like, at least for me, I didn't want to do any of the local stuff anymore. Like getting to race against the best guys and going to the big races was all I really wanted to do. And as an amateur, I would say some good success, but it wasn't like crazy. I wasn't winning everything, but top fives, top tens, I was always in the mix. And being from Wisconsin and racing dirt bikes, you really don't get to ride year round. And so you take off 5 months, 4 months, and come out in the spring way behind. So my spring results really weren't that good. And then for those that don't know dirt bikes and motocross, we have this one national in the summer, and it's basically the only race that counts all year long. So if you don't have a good result there, it doesn't really feel like the rest of the year even matters. So was fortunate enough to get a championship there in 2017, and then from there it was kind of a downward spiral for a few years. I got what's called post concussion syndrome, and basically you get a concussion and just have long lasting effects. And it took me 8, 9 months to recover from that and to find the right help. Just finding the help was difficult because not a lot of insurance companies like to recognize the companies and the places that help. So when I finally found help, was getting back on the bike, came back. I think I was on the bike for 3, 4 months, tore my knee up. Following year was COVID year. Had a shoulder injury, and then in 2021, the wheels really fell off. I had a bike malfunction in the air of a big 100+ foot jump, and when
Wow.
I came down, I landed on my elbow, and it dislocated my shoulder so severely that it severed my artery in my shoulder and wrecked everything else inside my shoulder. Had a traumatic brain injury, so I was life flighted from there to the local hospital or whatever, and spent a year off a dirt bike. But at that point in time, that was supposed to be my last year as an amateur. But at that point in time, I'm like, man, I didn't come this far to come this far, right? So I know there's a lot of people that judge whatever, but at the end of the day, this is my life. I choose what I want to do, and I think 15 months after the accident, I lined up in my first professional race. And that's kind of where we're at now, I guess. Second year in, first full year of Supercross, and it's been a learning process.
Jeez, that's really something there. 2 decades of riding, and so you let's talk about some of your injuries. You've been, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like
Yeah,
you've
I
been
didn't
plagued with
even I
injuries,
didn't
man.
even yeah, I unfortunately I haven't even hit all of them in there. So just had some big ones, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm just stubborn, right? Like I don't want anything to hold me back. And if I can get back on the dirt bike, I'm gonna get back on the dirt bike. And I want to be competitive doing it. I just don't want to do it just to be out there. Like since I've been young, I just want to win. Like it doesn't matter if it's family game night or whatever it is, I want to win. So um I guess what it comes down to, I wanted to be competitive, and I knew I could still be with my injuries. I was fortunate enough with the therapy and everything I went through that I was still able to be competitive. So here we are.
Yeah, that's incredible. A few things come to mind when I hear that. First off, if I were to pull up a dictionary right now and look up grit, am I going to see your picture?
Yeah, yeah, most likely, or insanity. It might be one or the other.
It's going to be a little bit of both,
Yeah, yeah,
dual definitions.
yeah.
But that certainly speaks volumes of what I would define as resilience and determination. So that's incredible. I was just going to ask, why do it? You're getting hurt over and over. I mean, you just mentioned you severed an artery. I
Yeah, I
don't lack.
tell
I'm as. I mean, I would say I'm a pretty resilient, tough individual, but nah. What you're doing, nah. You got it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, I would say, like, having that self-belief, like, and like you said, I'm 2 decades into this, I'm 22, been riding for what, 17 years, and I just don't feel like I spent 17 years to quit, right? Like, I put in all that
Yeah.
work, my family put in all that work, all my supporters, I'm not gonna quit when I'm right at the end of it, and, it's just having self-belief that I can still do it, and, like, I would say after that big shoulder injury that I had that I spent a year off, honestly, part of the reason I came back is I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could come back from it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like taking no for an answer.
So where do you get that from? What is that driving factor in that creating that internal flame of competitiveness
Just
within you?
just believe, yeah, just believing I can do it. Like once I got the taste of winning, like in success. And when I say winning, I don't think that winning is always first place. Like for
Okay.
everybody, I feel like that goalpost or whatever you want to call it can change. Like for me coming back, like winning was simply just being able to ride, right? So there's always like once I meet one goal, it's on to the next thing. But
It's an
man, and like
ever it's an
yeah, it's
always
ever
evolving goal.
goalpost. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. It's always moving. But like as an amateur, obviously there's a lot of these kids that I grown up with are having great success now and all the power to them. Good on them. But it's just like I know I could be there and I know I could still do it. So man, if I have the opportunity to still do it, I'm gonna chase it. And you're only young once. And in sports in general, your window is so small that take advantage of it while you can. And like I said, I got some great supporters in my corner that I'm able to make this happen right now. And let's take advantage of it while I can.
So what's your advice to any young rider who's under the age of 10 that's seeing Carter Biese and says, "Well, I'm thinking about doing that," you know? What would you have to
Yeah,
say to them?
I would
Knowing
say,
what you
man,
know.
I mean, truly, like it's cliche, but for the first bit of time, it truly is to have fun. Like if you're not having fun, you're not gonna be here. You're not gonna want to do it. But you got to start somewhere, and just be resilient, but at the same time, man, be smart about it. Like I've been in enough facilities, and a lot of my injuries came from overworking. Um, so it's like, man, you gotta listen to your body. I think that goes to all sports, right? Like listen to your body. And man, if things are fatigue, I think sometimes taking a day off is just as good as those extra reps, right? Um, Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could write a book on what to do and what not to do, but at the end of the day, you gotta listen to your body and you gotta do what you think is right, not what somebody else thinks is right. Because at the end of the day, you're the one putting your life on the line, you're the one riding and going through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was actually uh, at the gym the other day. Boy, I was tired, and I was like, I I'm gonna cut this one short.
Yeah.
I'm a
The
little older than
level
you.
Yeah, like
So,
our margin for error as a motocross racer is so small, and I don't wanna diss on, like, stick and ball sports, but man, you drop a ball, your life is fine. Well, I come up 2 feet short on a jump, and that's my foot's broke or something like that. So,
yeah.
the margin for error is so small that you can't be out there unless you're 100% and you don't feel like you're at the peak physical condition that you can be in. So, I just think for all of it, you've gotta be smart how you attack these. I don't think working harder is always the answer, which is it sounds I feel like it can come across as being weak, but at the same time, it depends on how driven you are at this, it's very easy to overwork yourself.
I think you're right. You're absolutely right in that. You're not coming off as weak because there is a time and place, and you have to understand, okay, are we close to the goal? Do we need to just put in that 10% more to get to that 110% to reach that goal? Or is there something really wrong here with my shoulder that if I do that, I could be jeopardizing future races. I could be
Yeah,
jeopardizing
and I
future
and I've
victories.
and I've and I've been guilty of it, right? Like
Yeah.
I raced when I tore my ACL. I raced on it for 3-4 months.
Jeez.
It was stable, so I'm like, man, just do it. But at the end of the day, some of the best advice I've ever been given is don't race unless you're 90%, unless you're
Okay.
at 90% form or not. So
90.
I
Okay.
definitely wasn't 90%. So um, and then you wreck your confidence too, right? So you go out there and you've wasted money, you've wasted your time, and you drag yourself down. So it's just like, yeah.
So what does your fitness regime look like? How do you keep your body at least to that 90% that you mentioned?
Uh-huh. Well, stay off the ground for one. That is number one. But luckily I run training. I train others in the summer months, and then I'm doing this supercross stuff in the winter. And
Yeah.
I'm fortunate. One of the kids that I trained, his dad was a professional mountain biker, so he kind of writes my program week to week. And man, a lot of cardio, a lot of interval stuff right now, just because our races are very short. But in the summer months, it's way too many hours on a bicycle. And motocross is this sport where it's not football where you got to build all this strength, and it's not cycling where it's just all cardio either. So you have to find this middle ground that is super gnarly. So you got to be strong in the gym, but at the same time, you can't get too big that you got to be able to last 30 minutes plus two at 185 heart rate.
So a lot of endurance too.
Yeah, a lot of endurance, like especially in the summer months when our motos are longer. The outdoor stuff, our motos are 35 minutes, and our break in between, we get two motos, so our break in between motos 45 minutes. So there's very little time for recovery, and you're right
Wow.
back out there.
Geez. I would like to note I am a mountain bike rider myself.
Yeah.
I ride a full squish Norco fluid. Love that
Oh,
sucker.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like enough mountain biking and a lot of road biking just because you can monitor your heart rate and keep it in check a little bit better than you can on a mountain bike.
That's good. Yeah. How has the injuries impacted your growth physically?
Like for sure, it's definitely slowed it down, right? Like, had you been talking to me 6 years ago, like where I thought I would be is in a completely different spot of where I am right now, which it sucks, but you just have to be realistic about it. Like, um, unfortunately, I'm not like I said, those kids that I once beat and that I was running with are long ahead of me now. And just taking, I think I did the math a couple months ago. I think out of 7 year period, I spent over 3 years injured. So you just can't expect yourself to be at that level anymore. So it's definitely hindered it, and it's just having that patience with yourself, which I don't have a lot of. I wish I had more, but just being patient with it and just like I said, that self belief that you have it in there somewhere. You just gotta stay healthy long enough and be on the bike long enough to let it come back.
So 3 years, 3 years injured. I got to ask, I'm going to pry a little bit. How does that affect the dating scene for you?
Well, the dating scene is the fact that I live in Wisconsin, and then I live in Florida, and then I live in Alabama, and then I'm in California. So honestly, at this point in time, that's not really my main focus. Like,
Rightfully so.
it's taken me finally long enough to finally get to this pro level point, and I don't want to mess it up right now. I want to have the focus on what I need to be focused on.
Right now, you remind me of the most interesting man in the room. So, who was your mentor? You know, you coming up in the ranks. Who was
Man,
your
like
mentor?
as mentor, or I would say someone I look up to. Um, being from Wisconsin, there's not a lot of people or not a lot of racers that come from the north simply because you don't ride 5 months out of the year because we got snow on the ground.
Makes sense.
But Ryan Dungey was from Minnesota, and he was able to make a fantastic career, one of the best of all time. And that was just somebody I always looked up to. And then I would say later in life, since my injuries, Ken Roxon is a big name in our sport.
Oh,
And he had a
I'm a
very,
fan.
very, very big arm injury. I think he had like 12 surgeries. And after going through what I've been through, I'm like, man, if he can do it, I can do it, right? So if someone's already done it, I can do it too. So somebody you look up to, and the dude's still at the top of our sport. It's gnarly.
Cooper Webb or Eli Tomac?
Man, I love them both because, like, I tell, like, the mental toughness of Cooper Webb is like nobody else. That guy has you beat before you're even on the racetrack. Like, I wish that I would have. I've had times where I felt like I have that, but man, I wish I had that all the time because that mental edge, that mental toughness can get you through anything.
We've been talking about mental toughness a lot lately. I don't know if you had the chance to see that clip that we actually put out from one of our first episodes, and it rings true. You know, how much can you withstand before you break? Having that
Yeah,
mental toughness is imperative when you're in sport, no matter what, whether it's stick and ball
yeah,
or in your
100%.
case.
You don't have to be the best. Like, was Tom Brady the most athletically gifted quarterback?
Oh,
Absolutely not. But that dude had it
perfect
right in the
example.
mind.
Yeah.
And man, you could, like, there's so much to be said about being mentally tough. Like, I tell people there was one amateur race growing up to each year that, like, just the track, like, I knew it didn't matter what happened or who was on the line, like I was winning that race. And just like, and that's what happened. Like, I won almost every single year. Just having that confidence and belief in yourself goes such a long ways. Like I said, you don't have to be the fastest, you don't have to be the best, but having that mental toughness, that strength to make it happen, I think is sometimes as powerful as being fit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sheer will and determination. I mean, it sounds like you're absolutely you're the epitome of that. You're pure definition.
I'm trying.
I don't know. I don't know too many people, and I know a few people, but I don't know too many people that fall under your category of mental toughness.
Yeah,
That
I don't
pure
know if
will.
it's mental toughness or insanity, but man, like I knew from a while ago, like, hey, my body's gonna hurt. Like, I know when I turn 30, 40, it's gonna hurt. It already hurts, but
I'm
just
38,
something I
and that's
gotta,
hurting
yeah,
now.
just something I gotta live with, and like I accept it, right? Like, this is
Yeah,
what I wanted to do. This has been my dream since I've been 4 years old. So um can't back down now.
I think that right there, just that little segment right there, is an excellent advice for the youth of today. I made it this far. I can't back down now. That is
Yeah, you
awesome.
don't
I'm
I
going to
always
use that. I'm going to be thinking
yeah.
that next time I'm going for a run.
I always tell people, like, they said, "Why'd you come back?" I said, I didn't make it this far to come this far, right?
Yeah,
So you don't
that's
work this hard and hang it up now. So man, and if I get a year down the line and I don't want to do it anymore, like, whatever, right? At least
yeah.
I did it. Like, I tried it, I did it. Um, Dreams come true, right? But even at that, like, now I'm 4 rounds into my season this year, and like, that first one, you take it and it's like, oh yeah, like, I'm happy to be here, awesome, I'm through it. Now just that competitor in me, like, I just want more. So
Yeah.
just keep building each weekend and get better.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And real quick, for the viewers out there, please, if you want to ask any questions for Carter, leave them in the comments. So, how has your father played a role in your racing career? You
Yeah, I
talked
mean,
about him
it's
briefly
been, yeah.
earlier.
So man, I think this goes for anybody. Nobody wants to listen to their parents, right? Like, it doesn't matter what they're, how old they are, what they want to do, but we've had a great relationship growing up, and I
Yeah.
was fortunate that when I was younger, I was fortunate that my dad raced as well, so he was able to pass down some knowledge to me, and I listened. I listened. So man, he helped set that foundation early in the year, or early in my career, to make it happen. And
Mhm.
I mean, we've kind of been together through this whole ride, right? Ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And now that I'm at the pro ranks, obviously not able to be there as much because we're all across the country, but pretty much been there the entire time.
So, how long did it take before you took Dad's advice? Was there
I
any?
don't I don't think it was really that bad because, like, when I started riding, it was like, hey, we're gonna build technique before we build speed, right?
Okay.
So with technique, if you build technique, the speed will come. And I bought into it early enough, and that's kind of what happened. No discredit to my dad, but he only knew so much. So there comes a point where I needed to go seek out some other help. And the good thing is, like, he can be around that help or wherever the trainer and listen as well. So when trainer's not around, dad's there to help and beat it into my brain.
That is wonderful. I like that your father and you have such a, like you said, to quote you, built a strong foundation. And in
Yeah.
doing the same thing that you both have a passion for, you guys have an even stronger bond. So with that, are you? And this is a knock on dad, but are you living dad's dream?
I
'Cause
think
dad
so.
raced.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think dad, I know for a fact dad loves this. Like, man, he was all giddy at Anaheim
Yeah,
1, which is our first round. And like, it's been our dream, I would say, forever, right? Like,
that's awesome.
man, when I'm 5, like, we dreamt and we watched and we talked about it. And it's not at the capacity that I want to be at. Obviously, like I said, I'm not winning, I'm not competing for wins, but given what I've been through, like I said, you got to be realistic. And I feel
Yeah,
like we've achieved the goals at this point in time. We're just going to keep building.
that's great. My dad and I, we're pretty close. We weren't when I was younger. Obviously, like you said, who wants to listen to their
Yeah,
parents?
no one
But
wants to
my
listen to
dad's
that.
my best friend. I talk to him
Hmm.
probably every other day for like
Yep.
30 minutes
Yep.
about nothing.
Yep. And it's so cool. Like I said, he runs races and stuff, and so we share the exact same passion and love for dirt bikes.
So speaking of family, you have a brother.
Yep.
He's big into snowcross, is that right?
Yeah, and that was honestly, that's another big thing. And I would say my development. I was fortunate that I had a fast brother too. So um, growing up, I don't know if it's like this way in other sports, but fast people don't want to ride with other fast people for whatever reason. I don't know if it's an ego thing or whatever, but
Got to be the
I didn't
best.
have a choice, right? Like, I didn't have a choice. My brother was there, and I got to ride with him, so we pushed each other the entire time, and still to this day, right? Like, when I go home and start the summer months, we're gonna be riding together every day. And it's just a rabbit to chase each day, and someone to, like, you roughly know how much faster you are than him. So whatever, just say it's 2 seconds. Well, I need to be 2 seconds faster than him every day, or better. And yeah, super fortunate that he loves the same things I do. Obviously, he likes his own cross side, which I want absolutely nothing to do with. But it's cool that we're both racing. And yeah, and I think this summer we're both going to be racing the, not for certain, but I think we're both going to be racing outdoor nationals. So that'll be cool to be doing it as brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really cool. Talk to me about his hair.
Yeah, I don't know. First, it did start as, I think, as a bet, and my mom got pretty mad about it. And I think she offered him $50 to cut it, and then my uncle doubled it not to cut it. And he made a lot of money off his hair
Oh,
early
wow.
on.
And so
So,
for the
and then it's
viewers,
just kind of, yeah, it's just kind of grown into this, like, he's created a brand off of it,
yeah.
honestly.
So for the viewers, well, Carter, why don't you tell us what kind of hairstyle does your brother have?
He's got a white man's fro, and when I'm saying fro, it is like large. Yeah.
He's got a brand. He's
He's
got a
got a
brand.
brand, he's got an image, he's done great with his social media stuff, and it's like it's got its own personality.
Yeah. So you were talking about mentors. You said Dungy from Minnesota.
Yep.
Yep. So what was the biggest benefit that you had for that individual that you looked up to? What did you
Just
gain? What was the most insight that you gained that helped you in your career?
just the fact that, like, I would just kind of the belief thing, like, you see somebody that can do it from the north, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, you know what? Like, it can happen. Like, it's possible. So, hey, you know what? Why can't I do it? Right.
Yeah.
And always had a great head on his shoulders. Was about as good as you could get in the media, and just someone you look up to and want to be like when you grow up.
So you're an adult now. You're 22.
22.
You want to ride year round. Why not move? I mean, why not move to SoCal? Why not move to Texas?
I got a really good thing going back home. So in the summer months, to be perfectly honest, the outdoor nationals, I spend more money than I make. Like if you want to be competitive racing the motocross circuit, the amount of time and effort you have to put into it and the money is just it's not realistic not being on a factory team and on a factory budget to be able to be competitive. And like I said, I don't want to go out there to be the last place guy. It just doesn't interest me. And like I made mention of earlier, I run training stuff in the summer, and through all my injuries and stuff, I've kind of built a brand and a business with it, and I enjoy helping others. So I train guys in the summer, and I have a good market up in Wisconsin, whereas some of these other states like Florida, Georgia area is super saturated with trainers. And then the SoCal market is I don't want to stay in SoCal. So I've traveled enough to SoCal the last 4 weeks that I've had enough of it for the year. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like being home. I like being with family, and I enjoy the training side of things. So it kind of all works out.
So would you say it's a very small but yet tight knit community for
Yeah, for
people in
sure,
that scene
for
in
sure.
this
I would
area?
say just motocross in general. Like
Okay.
if you would say a million people play football, I mean, what, 10,000 ride dirt bikes? The number is just so much smaller, but I think we're fortunate that it's a little bit tighter of a community,
Yeah. Everyone knows
and
everyone.
everybody knows everybody, so that helps. And I'm fortunate to have a relatively big name in the state that people want to come train with me, and I want to help people out. So it just all kind of works.
I like that though. You balance having your own desire and competitive nature to want to win for you, have your own successes, but you also want to help other people.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely it's a tough balance. Last year I got hurt. I want to say the start of March, and I shredded my elbow apart, and it was I think UCL, LCL, and the doc told me it was going to be like 9 months. So I'm like, oh well, I got to
oh
find something
geez.
else. Like I got to find something else to do. Well, it healed, and they released me in like 4 months. So I'm like, oh shoot, I wasn't expecting this, but during that time, I started this training side of things, and ideally, I would like to be able to do both of it, train and race. But
Hmm.
it's something I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this summer
Yeah.
because I don't want to short the kids I'm training for sure. I got some really good kids that I'm working with that deserve to have the best. But at the same time, I'm still young, so I want to be able to race and be
Yeah.
able to chase this while I can. So it's a good balancing act, and I think I'll be able to make it happen this year and just grow both sides, right? Like I said, I want to be competitive yet. I want to put in good results as a racer, but at the same time, I want to build my business and set myself up as I go in life here.
So amateur versus pro. You're now pro, right?
Yep.
You've been amateur for quite some time. What was the big difference? And
It is like people, it is so much different. Like you think it's the same dirt bike race, but we go to
right.
amateur races, and our amateur races have like 40 classes, and you're there for like a week. It's like a drug out long week of racing and pro days. You start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at least on the outdoor stuff, you're done at 3 o'clock. So it's a 1 day in and out. It sounds nice, but it's a pressure cooker because you got to qualify well, and then there's not time, right? So it's been a learning process, learning that type of day. And even though you've raced these guys as an amateur, most of them you have never raced before, and just the level of the pace right now, the speed is absolutely insane. So just being able to learn a track in 8 minutes and then having to be at your 100% pace is gnarly, and it's something that I'm still learning and trying to figure out. But that's what it is. Professional sports, right? It's the best of the best. So just trying to figure that out right now, and
Yeah.
it's definitely not easy.
Okay. So you're trying to find your own footing in that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, the the big takeaway from that I'm getting is they care in the amateur space. They want to get to pro, but once they get the pro, the amount of pressure, the amount of competitiveness in that arena is insane. And
Yeah, and especially
the
since
nerves.
now, yeah, especially now that I'm in stadiums. So we have 2 different series throughout the year. One's
Yeah.
called Supercross. It starts in January, ends in
Yep.
May, and then Motocross, which starts in May, ends in September. Well, we grow up racing and riding motocross all of our lives, and then we get to the pro ranks, and we learn Supercross, which is very steep, very close together, and inside football and baseball stadiums in front of 40, 50,000 people. So that's what I'm doing right now, and that's a completely different. I tell people all the time, like this is a different sport. Like setting up my bike is completely different. How I ride the bike, just a completely different sport. So it feels like I'm doing 2 things completely different that I'm learning, and yeah, I mean, like, this is the dream. Supercross is the dream because it's the biggest platform, on TV a little bit more, in front of more fans, under the lights. But yeah, it's as an amateur, I don't feel like it really preps you. They're making steps right now to kind of get kids prepped and ready for it, but at least for my generation, it's not like we got a lot of prep into this, and then boom, it's time to go.
Wow. Geez. And talking about the limelight, I caught some of Plessinger's recent win down in what was that? No, not Anaheim. Maybe it was Anaheim. Correct me if
San
I'm wrong.
Diego.
San Diego, that's where it was.
Yep.
In San Diego, and I'm convinced, man. I love the Cowboy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. The dude's got great personality. Yeah.
He's a heck of a rider. I'm a
Yes, he
Tomac
is.
fan myself, but man, Plessinger, he's looking good
Yeah,
out
and
there.
and just the level of the sport right now. There's 10 dudes that can win right now, and that's
It's insane.
unlike yeah, it is. Like
Yeah.
I said, the level right now that everyone is pushing and going is I feel like it's never been higher.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that level that it's at, and you're chasing it, you're pro now. When you get injured, and I would imagine you probably get a sense of feeling left behind because when you're either, when you're hot, and everyone's like, this is the name, this is the guy, Carter Biese. And when you're not, it's like you fall
Oh
down.
yeah, our sport, they forget about you. You're only good as your last race, is what we say in motocross.
Okay, I like that.
And unlike football, where you get multi-year contracts, 4 or 5 years, motocross, you're lucky if you get to your. I'm not on a team or anything right now, but you're lucky. Yeah. These top guys are even lucky if they get 2 or 3 years. So, man, for those guys, you got to stay healthy. But yeah, you can easily be forgotten about, and that level is always rising. So it's really easy, and that's what's happened to me, right? I've lost 3 years of riding, and you lose that level and you lose that edge, and it's hard to get back.
Oh, geez. So what was the worst experience that you had? I mean, the most recent one that we were talking about, the artery severing,
Well,
or?
the concussion that I had back in 2018, that post-concussion syndrome, man, I wish that upon nobody. That was the most brutal 8 months of my life.
Oof.
And I was fortunate enough to find help. I'll give a little shout out here just because they saved my life. I mean, I wouldn't be riding a dirt bike without them. The Functional Neurology Center, if you ever sustain any kind of head injury,
Yeah.
have any kind of lingering symptoms, man, those guys got me back on a dirt bike. Like I said, I wouldn't have gotten back on a dirt bike without them.
And that's in Appleton, right? Appleton, Wisconsin?
That's in, I believe they're in Minnetonka, Minnesota. So
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to find help close enough. They're very unique, and you're not going to find it at your typical neurologist, the type of therapy and work they do. So yeah, I swear by them. I've sent so many people over there, and like I said, without them, I wouldn't be riding a dirt bike. And then, yeah, my last one, that shoulder one, was definitely the closest I've ever been to hanging it up. I didn't have tricep function or function on my wrist for a couple months with the nerve damage I had in my arm. But like I said, I'm resilient. Like I went every day. I'd sit on the couch. I'd sit on the couch and just get it to move all day. I watch TV, but I'm just doing whatever I can to get it to move and get it to work again.
You're focused.
Yeah, and just
Staying focused and intentional.
And I don't want to hear the word no. So
well, That's one thing you and I can agree on. I hate hearing the
Yeah.
word no. I like trying to
Yeah.
figure out a way to make things happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's
So
what's done well for
it
me.
was
My
a it was
personal-
a it was a very long process and many tears, many sleepless nights, but everything happens for a reason. So I feel like
Yep.
I've gained and I've learned a lot out of it, and I feel like my experiences will be able to help others. And yeah, that one lasted a year. I think I rode a little under 12 months after the
Yeah.
accident, but I mean, my shoulder doesn't do everything that it used to do. I don't have the range of motion, or I don't have full tricep function or strength, I would say, anymore. It works, but it
Wow.
doesn't. I don't have the strength near the strength I had before
Yeah.
it. But for what I need to do in life, it does what I need it to do.
So that, we talked about your physical endurance and dealing with injuries. Mentally though, man, I mean, that's got to be,
Yeah,
the wrecks,
terrible.
not making it, falling out
Yeah,
of the limelight,
yeah.
you know.
I was fortunate enough with that. Well, I don't know how you want to take it. I think everybody will take it differently, but
Yeah.
I don't. I got a traumatic brain injury when it happened, and I don't remember probably about 6 weeks of my life there.
Wow.
I'm thankful I don't remember it because I got taken in a helicopter and I'm absolutely terrified. So just stuff like that. I feel like it's my body's way of guarding me from that and protecting me from the experiences I had through that injury. But yeah, I mean, I'm stubborn and like I
Yeah.
definitely through my injuries. Honestly, I found that obviously I love the sport more than anything, but I
Yeah.
found myself honestly, like I follow basketball a lot more closely now, golf, football, just finding something to disconnect from it and get away
Okay.
from it and try to be a little bit normal and not honestly not as focused on it as time just because it can eat you up so fast.
Yeah. I would imagine so. And I think that's a really good idea. I think you have a really good strategy there to disconnect from the sport, take some time, a little breather, heal up,
Yep.
focus on something else, get your
Yep.
mind off that, because that's probably going to be what's weighing you down. That feeling
Yeah.
of,
And I think that's for anybody in any
oh
sport. Like I
yeah,
think
for
you have to
sure.
take it you have to take it in moderation. Like if
Yeah.
you do it too much, I think too much is a bad thing sometimes. So just being able to disconnect to it, like,
Yeah.
my mechanic I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna be honest, it's Friday night, I don't wanna look at dirt bikes right now, let's put something
Yeah.
else on the TV, and I'll worry about dirt bikes at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning." But for the time being, I need a disconnect from it, and we need to think about something else.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Um, so your father owned, actually, we'll get back to that in a moment here. Um, we'll continue talking about the racing. So what were the entry fees like, and what do you stand to win if you make a main event? What's that like?
Well, it's gotten better than years past, but compared to other sports, we're making pennies on the dollar,
Yeah.
especially for how much we're putting our lives on the line for what we're risking. To get your license is $510, and then per entry per race is $250. And if you make the night show, which is just making the heat races, you make $1,000, and then I believe it's 2,000 to make the main event. So for a lot of these factory guys, that money is nothing because they're getting bonuses and
Yeah.
getting paid from other sponsors. But for privateers like us, that's where our income's coming from. And so yeah, it's not great. And like I said, the outdoor national stuff, they don't pay very well for that. So like I said, not as doesn't make me want to do it as much.
So one of your goals is to make a team, correct? Right?
Yeah, like at this point in time, honestly, I was on a team last year, and like without a doubt, I dream about being on a factory team, right?
Yeah.
But at this point in time, I'm not sure if that's a realistic goal. And I was on a little bit of I'll call it a satellite team, and just even through my amateur careers, my experiences, being on a team isn't always what it's all cracked up to be, right?
Okay.
So last year I was a part of it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it just didn't work out. Like
Yeah.
I think I would have been better off on my own. So this year it's definitely a lot more work doing it myself,
Hmm.
and a lot more money doing it myself. But just having the freedom of doing exactly what I want to do,
Yeah.
and
You're not beholden. to what
Yeah.
the team manager
Yep.
wants. Yep.
Exactly. I put on my bike what I want to put on my bike. I
Yeah.
do what I want to do. Um, and I've been fortunate enough. My off-season trainer and partner was Logan Carno, and man, he's made a living as a privateer, getting his own sponsors, building his own
Really?
program. So
So is that kind of a mentor to you as well?
yeah, right now, honestly, like he's we're a little bit like polar opposites. He's kind of, I wouldn't call him a partier guy, but he likes to have fun a lot more than I do. Like I don't drink, I don't do nothing. I just want to ride my dirt bike and go
Yeah.
fast. But
It kind of
he's
reminds me of
found
the
some,
Crusty Demons.
yeah, he's found some great sponsors, and
Yeah.
don't let his image fool you. He puts in work too. But
Okay.
yeah, just learning from him how to get these sponsors, how to interact with
Yeah.
them, ask for, has been super helpful. He helped me last week in Anaheim too under his tent. So he's been super helpful, and just trying to learn from guys like that at this point in time.
How does Carter Biese go about getting sponsors?
You got to have something to offer, right? Like at
Mhm.
this point in time in 2024, like social media has become such a big and important part of everybody's lives, I think.
Yeah.
And
Oh, absolutely. As far
whether
as
you
marketing
like
too.
it, whether you like it or not, you have to be willing to do the social media side of things and offer something on that type of platform. And like I said, my training side now, so if I can put together discount codes or whatever for a certain company that they can in return help me on my racing side of things, then that's great. And I've been fortunate enough that when I was younger, my dad forced me to go talk to everybody, all my sponsors, which I absolutely hated for at the time, but so glad he made me do it, because building that relationship goes a long ways. I've been with Fly Racing, which is my gear sponsor, since
Got one of their
2010.
jerseys.
Yep, I've been with them for 14, 15 years now.
Yeah.
And man, when you build that relationship, things become a lot easier.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, it's just, and finding people that need help. And like I said, sponsoring has to go both ways.
Yeah, it's got to be mutually beneficial. Absolutely.
Yep.
And a couple of things there. One, the marketing thing, social media for our platform as well. I mean, that's part of
Yeah.
our entire marketing strategy has been utilizing
Mhm.
where the eyeballs are. You know, whether it's
Yep.
the
And
TikTok,
yeah.
Facebooks, all
And
that.
I don't like, I definitely don't, it's not my favorite, like, for sure. Every year before Loretta Lynn's, we would or I would delete all my social media off my phone. I'm like, look, it's time to focus up.
Okay.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
No distractions, that type of thing. But man, we're to the point now where you need to be posting on social media. Some of my sponsor deals are built around social media, so
Yeah.
it's just something you have to live with. And obviously, my brother crushes it with his type of stuff too. So yeah, I think like having that fast brother like Jordan, it helps. And we're gonna hopefully do some exciting and some cool things on social media
Yeah.
this summer once we get together. But just have to take advantage of it to, like you said, get the sponsors and get your name out.
Well, speaking of sponsors, why don't you go ahead and list them all out there? You can give them all a shout out.
Yeah, like I said, the Functionality, those guys are my title sponsor,
Yeah.
my main sponsor. Like I said, couldn't do without those guys. Fly Racing,
Yep.
Southeast Sales, Kawasaki, Scott. Man, you put me on the spot, dude. There's
Yeah.
so many of them.
That's
Pirelli,
what we do
Recluse.
here on After the Game.
Yeah, Recluse, Guts, my mom, my dad, my brother, FMF,
Yeah.
Basic Moto Co. Man, Achurbis, there's so many of them. Obviously, everybody back home that's helping me out, that's
Yeah.
supporting me. Very thankful and grateful for the life I get to live right now.
That is awesome. Maybe we'll see if Team 2 can do some sort of sponsorship with you.
Awesome. I'm here for it.
We'd love to support you. A guy like you,
Awesome.
you know, the pure definition of grit, resilience, determination, focus. I mean, you're like a laser beam guy.
Yeah, something like that. As long as I'm staying healthy, life is good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, speaking of teams, who would you want to be on? What team would you want?
Man, growing up, like, I feel like it always changed, but like that Pro Circuit Kawasaki, like
Okay.
growing up, they were so dominant. But man, Man, I haven't really thought about it. Like I said, that the top guys are so fast right now. I got a
Yeah.
long ways to go if I want to catch them, but just trying to focus on the now and reach my goals at this point in time.
Okay. Okay. What are your goals though, exactly?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
if
at
you had
this
to put
point in
it out,
time,
write it on paper. What exactly is it that you want?
I want to be in a main. I want to be in main events yet this year.
Okay.
It sucked because we had two mudders. I think the muddiest Supercross nearly of all time
That one
at
in
the
San
second
Fran.
round. Yeah, that was the most miserable race of my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you how many times I picked up my bike in the heat race, and I'm not joking. I don't know how many times I fell. It was so many. But and then San Diego was a wet one again,
Yeah.
so it's been a little bit difficult because it's kind of delayed that learning process just because mud is survival. Like you're not riding the track the same, you're rolling everything. So um, I feel like last weekend at Anaheim too, I left a lot on the table. Just things that I do on practice day, but that pressure, that tight program, I just wasn't able to execute like I am on practice day, and that's something that I'm working to fix.
Hmm.
But hopefully in Glendale, I get that thing in the main event,
Yeah.
and yeah, start making it happen. I know I can do it. It's just a matter of putting practice day to race day. If I can have my Saturdays be as fast as my Tuesdays, I think life would be just fine.
My Saturdays as fast as my Tuesdays. I usually just say I wish the week would go by fast and get to the weekend.
Yeah, honestly, like the race day is the easiest part for most, but I'm just learning it at this point in time, right? So
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
have a little bit of patience with myself, but at the same time, pretty pissed off I'm not there. But we'll
Understandably.
get there. We'll get there. Got I think 4 or 5. I think 5 rounds left for the year, and then have outdoor too. And I know a lot more, and I'm a lot more comfortable outdoors. So hopefully we'll be able to make some noise come outdoors as well.
So what makes you more comfortable outdoors? What makes you, I would assume when you say you're more comfortable outdoors, you're also faster, you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I've ridden it since I was 5 years old, right?
Okay.
So the types of tracks we've ridden for what is it, 17 years. Where
Yeah.
Supercross, I got a late jump on it just because of injuries. Like most kids probably start riding it like 16, 17. And I didn't really get to ride any until last year, 21. I got to ride some here and there, but just got a late jump at it. So it's a steep learning curve. The jumps are super steep, pretty tight. The whoops are big. Um, just being able to nut up and hit that stuff right away is pretty intimidating at first,
Yeah.
but just being able to ride those tracks week in, week out, you just become more comfortable because you can build a practice track, but you can't replicate how they're going to build it on race day and the way it's going to break down. So like I said, that mud kind of prolonged that, but hopefully with some dry rounds, we got a dry round in Glendale because it's closed stadium, so hopefully things go well.
So what goes through your mind before you're taking one of the big jumps?
Man, hopefully nothing. Honestly, like my what I tell myself is I got to do it. Like I usually take one roll lap and then I jump at the second lap because like the longer, like I tell all the kids I train, the longer you wait to hit it, the less chance there is that you're gonna hit it. So get it out of the way with fast. But luckily with the Supercross stuff, they typically build the big jumps the same size each weekend, so you roughly know what to hit it. But the scariest stuff are the whoops and the bigger rhythms. But getting better, getting more comfortable each weekend, and just learning how to set the bike up
Yeah.
and just kind of how I need to approach each qualifying session, lap to lap, or if I go out in the front, go out in the middle, go out in the back, just learning that type of stuff and hopefully figuring it out and fixing it each weekend.
So how do you get along with a lot of the other racers, in
I
your,
mean, I think we all get along. Like I'm friends with a good bit of them, but honestly, it's all of our jobs on Saturdays to ride our dirt bikes to the best of our
yeah,
ability.
yeah.
So we're not really talking a lot, honestly. Like
Ever any beef?
yeah, I mean, I've definitely had enough of it, but it's just
Yeah.
a part of it, and hopefully I do my best to stay out of the drama because I really don't want any of it.
Yeah.
Um, but it does happen, so just do my best to navigate it. But
Yeah.
like I said, Logan's been super helpful, and he races the 450 class where I race the 250 class, and it's nice. Like he's very open to share lines and what I should do with me. Just I think he's that person anyways. Even if we raced the same class, he would help me. But just having somebody you can bounce ideas off of and kind of talk about the racetrack and how to do things is very beneficial.
Have you ever came across a racer that just for whatever reason did not like you, and how did you approach that? How did you handle that?
There's definitely a few. Like I think you always have rivals, whatever sport you're in. Just do
You
my
want to tell us
best
who
to.
your rival is?
Yeah, probably not. No, there's honestly, I feel like we all have our run-ins at some point in time, but
Yeah.
as we get older, I feel like we do better at squashing that beef and being able to move on from it. Um, but yeah, just stay out of trouble. Like I know if somebody's gonna hit me, or if I hit somebody, they're probably gonna hit me back. So make class passes as clean as I can and get on with it.
Okay. Okay. So thinking back to your earlier years to now, amateur carter versus pro carter, what was the biggest thing that you in hindsight, what was the biggest thing that you learned or that you wish you did differently?
What I wish I would have done differently
Yeah.
is I was always like I didn't think I had time. Like you think you got to turn pro at 17, 18 years old, but in hindsight, uh you really have nothing but time, right? So there's no rush at it. Like some of the best dudes we've had going pro have been 20, 21 years old as of late. You're just not mature physically and mentally at 17, 18 years old to be able to race with these guys. Like RJ Hampshire is 28 or 29 years old leading, or I don't know if he's leading, but Jordan Smith is leading West Coast points, and you're just not ready to go at that pace at 18 years old to be able to handle that for whatever it is, 9 rounds. But I was just in a rush, so I would move up bike classes, bike sizes, and just because I thought I had to, right? Like
Yeah.
I could go fast. I could go fast on it, but could I go fast on it for 30 minutes? Could I stay?
Yeah.
Wish I wasn't in a rush, right? And when I did get hurt, don't always have to rush back from it. Just take your time. And my mom always used to say, and she still says, nobody's gonna remember that race. Like nobody knows what place I finished at Loretta's in 2018, and nobody cares, right? So
Yeah.
there's always going to be another race. So heal up, come back, and be at least a 90% for the next one. But
So
take
that
my
would be a
time
lot
and
of the
chill out.
advice. So that would be a
Yeah, a
lot of
lot
the
of my
advice
advice
to
would
give
be
your
just,
younger
yeah,
self.
for sure. Just you have
Okay.
time.
So you represented the US overseas?
Yeah, I did. I represented Team
Let's talk about
USA in
that.
2014. Yeah, that was a super cool experience. Yeah, 2014 they chose 365 riders, 385 riders, and 125 riders to represent the USA. It's basically the Olympics of motocross.
Wow.
And there was a
That's
few
what I'm
spring
learning this.
races. Yeah, there was a few spring races that were important for kind of choosing who they were going to be. And
Yeah.
uh, unfortunately, I didn't win any of them. I gave a few of them away, but I showed a lot of speed. And like I said, those races happened in March,
Mhm.
and so I wasn't quite up to par even yet. But I was able to get some good. I think I had some podiums, some top fives, second, some good results, and yeah, I got the call not too much after that I was going to be representing Team USA, and unfortunately,
That's
I was
good.
getting ready for our national championship um, in June, and I broke my leg, tib fib, and I'm like, man, there's absolutely. And our race happened. I want to say the first week of August. I'm like, man, there's absolutely no way I'm missing this race. So found some like we call him the voodoo doctor down in South Carolina. Had me walking on a broken tib fib in 10 days and riding in 3 weeks. Whether that was smart
Whoa.
or not, we made it happen. And yeah, that was an amazing experience. The track was absolutely terrible, but glad I got to do it. Great
Yeah.
experience and something I'll remember forever.
Especially representing the US.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
something I feel like as an athlete you dream of, right?
You dream
Representing
it.
your country.
Every athlete aspires at some point in their career to, be on an Olympic team, to be representing
Yep.
their country, and that's really awesome. So your dad, we're almost out of time, but I did want to get one more thing in here.
Yep.
Your dad owned Gravity Park, was it?
Yep.
He owned two tracks.
He owned Gravity Park, and then I would say right around the time I was born, I think he got out of it.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure on timeline there. I was pretty young. And then I would say 2008 he bought or whatever went into Tigerton MX, and he's promoted at a few different tracks as well
Okay.
that he would lease or whatever. And yeah, I mean, super fortunate. Everyone thinks that just because we own Tigerton that I grew up riding there all the time. Track's an
So
hour and 15
you didn't
away.
actually ride
No, I
either of
mean,
those tracks.
we definitely rode there, but we didn't
Okay.
ride there in a crazy amount. I would say
Okay.
once, twice a month maybe, but nothing crazy. It's, yeah, like it's nice you always have somewhere to ride if you need it,
Yeah.
and, yeah, family's in the sport, nothing better than that.
Yeah. It's in your blood.
Exactly.
You're one day when you have children, they're going to come out with full face helmets
Yeah,
on.
hopefully they want nothing to do with the dirt bike because 'cause they're far too painful.
Yeah. Well, given all the injuries you have, could you see yourself encouraging your children to ride?
Yeah, man, I don't know, like, riding is a different thing than racing and doing it at the level I'm
Okay,
doing it.
that's fair. Yeah.
I just like I know what I've been through, and it's been not even just the toll it takes on me, but the toll it takes on my mom, my dad, my
Yeah.
family. It's a lot. Like I said, the reward for me has been amazing, but swing a golf club. I wish I would have swung a golf club a long time ago. Because if I had as many hours swinging a golf club as I do riding a dirt bike, I think I'd be okay.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, man, do what you love, chase what you want to do, and whatever, right?
Yeah. I think that's all sound advice. Also, when you think of I'm going to say it again, your resilience, your toughness, and your grit, um, it is easily transferable and comparable to other youth in sports. Whether they're riding or hitting, running downfield, running across the court, all of it is still a level of competitiveness that is required to help you become more successful in your personal lives, not just in your
Yeah,
athleticism.
and that's like when I train others, like that's I'm not just I'm not just trying to teach you to be a better dirt bike rider, but I'm hoping that you can apply some things to life, right? Like
Exactly.
just the process of being a hard worker, not quitting, um, just cliche stuff, but at the same time, like it truly is. I mean, there's a reason it's cliche. So put in the work, and if you put in the work, you'll see the results.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So if people want to find Carter Biese for our viewers, our listeners, how do they go about finding you? What's the best way?
Just at Carter Bees on Instagram, Carter Bees on Facebook, and my training side of things is Minor League Moto Training on Facebook. And yeah, that's it for right now. Not sure if I'm going to create a website and stuff for my training side of things and my
Okay.
racing side of things, but for now, that's where you'll find me.
That's fantastic. Well, Carter, I really appreciate you being on the show on After the Game and having a conversation and basically telling everybody what makes Carter Carter. And I would say it's oil, it's AMSOIL, it's dirt, and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. I had a fun time.
Oh, wait, one last question. Jeremy McGrath or Travis Pastrana?
Oh, as a Jeremy, like I'm a racer.
Really?
So
Okay.
as a racer, so Jeremy, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
If
Didn't
you would
expect
ask
that.
my brother, he'd probably say Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, with that, we can cut it there, and really appreciate your time, man. Again, this is Carter Biese. Look for him out there. Everybody should be rooting this guy. Appleton native.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep, not a problem.